Well, with cases rising again across the country, the fourth wave of COVID-19 is affecting much of Canada, mainly fueled by the Delta variant. This is affecting another school year as parents with young children deal with safety concerns of in-class learning. However, a recent event in an Ontario daycare illustrates the potential liability of a negligent parent sending an ill child to school. Nainesh Kotak from Kotak Law joins us with more. Good morning, Nainesh.
Good morning, Bob.
So give us some background here. What exactly happened at the daycare in Vaughan?
Right. What it appears is that the Health Protection and Promotion Act in Ontario gives the authority to medical officers in each region to enact directives really that could direct what people can do and what they can refrain from doing with respect to communicable diseases. And obviously in the New York region that was done as in any other region. And part of that is to have screening done before children go to school. There's a series of questions that must be answered. In fact, a lot of daycares ask you to do that online, and some of it is self-screening as you get a bit older. But what happened in this case, and it seems that the child obviously had COVID-like symptoms and ought to have isolated. And in fact, the parents sent the child to school, and it appears that 15 other children were infected with COVID-19 as a result of this. So there was a ticket for a fine, $770 plus another $100 for a victim fine surcharge. We don't see a lot of individuals being charged under the legislation. It seems to be more for businesses. But the reality is the legislation does have teeth, and there are regional directives with respect to isolation and the screening that needs to be done for children, in fact, going to school. Section 23 of the Act actually puts the onus on caregivers and parents for children under the age of 16, that it becomes their responsibility to do the screening, and if forms are required to fill them out directly.
So beyond fines, could they be liable for further litigation from other parents?
Right. So, yeah, it's possible. We have Bill 218. That was enacted, I think, primarily to protect long-term care homes. But it does really protect individuals and corporations from COVID-related liability, unless it can be shown that they weren't acting in good faith compliance with public health guidelines, or that they, in fact, acted recklessly. So, you could see a circumstance where, for example, it's quite obvious the child has been diagnosed, the symptoms in the whole house are present, someone in the home has been diagnosed, and one could argue that they were quite reckless and there could be potential civil liability. The thing to watch out for is most insurance policies now, when they're coming up for renewal, they are providing exclusions for communicable diseases. So the problem with that, if somebody is sued, as a result of the spread of COVID, they may not be successful in the lawsuit, but you may not get legal coverage of a lawyer to represent you through your insurance policy. So that's something to watch out for. More so, I think the penalties we see and potential liabilities rest on sort of businesses that open when they shouldn't have, and of the sort, as opposed to individuals. But it certainly is something to watch out for. The screening questions are to be taken seriously. The other thing, Bob, is the reality is, a lot of children could be asymptomatic.
Well, I was just going to ask you about that. So that's kind of a gray area you get into. The child could have a headache it's not talking about, and parents will just send the child off to school. They look fine. So what happens with an asymptomatic transmission?
Right. Well, obviously, there shouldn't be a fine rendered in those circumstances on asymptomatic cases. The parent obviously is complying with the legislation, doing the screening, and nothing shows up. With the Delta variant, there is more symptoms being exhibited by children, but still they could be asymptomatic. And I don't see a case there for a fine or even for civil liability.
Okay. Well, it's important for parents certainly to be vigilant with this, because again, there's exposure to this kind of thing. So we're going to link up all your socials and the website for Kotak Law for more information on this and other matters. And we appreciate your regular visits. Nainesh Kotak. Have a great Wednesday.
Thanks so much.